For nearly 4 decades, one television show has been serving up family feuds, forbidden romances, broken marriages, revenge, and enough drama to keep generations of viewers coming back. If you watched The Bold and the Beautiful in the late 80s, 90s, or 2000s, you probably remember the names before you even remember the storylines. The Forresters, the Logans, Brooke, Ridge, Eric, Stephanie. So today, we're going back to 1987 and see what happened to them and what they are doing. Some stories are inspiring, some are surprising, and one or two may genuinely make you stop and say, I can't believe that's what happened to them. Katherine Kelly Lang was born on July 25, 1961, in Hollywood, California. When The Bold and the Beautiful premiered in 1987, she was 25 years old. She took on the role of Brooke Logan, and almost 4 decades later, she is still playing the same character. Brooke started out as a young woman from the Logan family, but she quickly became one of the most important figures in the entire Forrester world. Her complicated relationship with Ridge Forrester became one of the show's defining storylines, filled with romance, heartbreak, marriages, breakups, and rivalries. For longtime viewers, Brooke was never simply the good woman or the bad woman. She could make you angry, surprise you, and then somehow make you root for her again. That's a big reason the character remained so popular for so many years. But what happened to Katherine Kelly Lang after all those years? Unlike many soap stars who eventually leave their long-running roles, Lang stayed with The Bold and the Beautiful. She originated Brooke Logan when the series began on March 23, 1987, and CBS still lists her as Brooke in the show's current cast. And here's the part that longtime fans may find hard to believe. Katherine Kelly Lang is now 65 years old in 2026, yet Brooke Logan is still appearing in new episodes of the same show that made her famous. John McCook was born on June 20, 1944, in Ventura, California. When The Bold and the Beautiful premiered in 1987, he was 42 years old. He took on the role of Eric Forrester, the founder and patriarch of the Forrester family and the man behind the fashion empire Forrester Creations. Eric was the kind of character longtime viewers knew immediately. He was successful, respected, and often the voice of reason in a family where almost everyone seemed to have a secret. But his personal life was anything but peaceful. His complicated relationship with Stephanie Forrester, his marriages, his children, and his constant battles over the future of Forrester Creations made Eric one of the central figures of the show. And for viewers who remember the early years, John McCook wasn't simply playing Eric. He became the face of the Forrester family. What makes his story even more impressive is that The Bold and the Beautiful wasn't his first major soap role. Before Eric Forrester, McCook played Lance Prentice on The Young and the Restless from 1975 to 1980. Nearly 40 years later, he is still playing the same character. CBS continues to list him as Eric in season 39, making him one of only 2 original cast members still on the show, alongside Katherine Kelly Lang. So, at 82 years old in 2026, John McCook is still showing up for work on the same soap opera he joined in 1987. Ron Moss was born on March 4, 1952, in Los Angeles, California. When The Bold and the Beautiful premiered in 1987, he was 35 years old. He played Ridge Forrester, the charismatic son of Eric and Stephanie Forrester, and one of the show's original leading men. Ridge was talented, confident, and, especially in the early years, something of a ladies' man. But for longtime viewers, his name will always be connected to Brooke Logan and Taylor Hayes. The endless triangle between Ridge, Brooke, and Taylor became one of the defining storylines of the show. And for 25 years, Ron Moss was the face of Ridge. But in 2012, something happened that longtime viewers didn't expect. Moss decided to leave The Bold and the Beautiful after playing Ridge from the show's very first episode. His final appearance came in September 2012, ending a remarkable 25-year run. The role was eventually recast, with Thorsten Kaye taking over as Ridge in 2013. But Moss didn't simply disappear from entertainment. In fact, acting wasn't even where his career began. Before The Bold and the Beautiful, Moss was a musician and a founding member of the rock band Player, whose biggest hit, Baby Come Back, became a #1 hit in 1978. And today, at 74 years old, he is living a very different life from the one viewer. Remember, Moss divides his time between the United States and southern Italy, where he has become involved in filmmaking, producing, and directing. Susan Flannery was born on July 31, 1939, in Jersey City, New Jersey. When The Bold and the Beautiful premiered in 1987, she was 47 years old. She played Stephanie Forrester, the powerful matriarch of the Forrester family, and for 25 years, she was one of the most formidable women on daytime television. Stephanie wasn't the kind of character viewers could simply forget. She was strong, fiercely protective of her family, stubborn, and sometimes ruthless. And if you watched the show during its early decades, you almost certainly remember her legendary battles with Brooke, Logan, Stephanie believed Brooke wasn't good enough for her family, especially for Ridge. What followed was one of the longest and most personal rivalries in the show's history. But there was another side to Stephanie. Behind all the arguments and manipulation was a woman who would do almost anything to protect the Forrester name and the people she loved. And Susan Flannery made that complexity work. Before The Bold and the Beautiful, she was already an established actress. She had played Dr. Laura Spencer Horton on Days of Our Lives and won a Daytime Emmy during her 8-year run. She also appeared in the 1974 disaster classic, The Towering Inferno, a performance that earned her a Golden Globe for her film debut. Then came Stephanie Forrester. Flannery remained with The Bold and the Beautiful from 1987 until 2012, earning multiple Daytime Emmy nominations and winning 3 Outstanding Lead Actress awards. She also directed episodes of the show, proving that her talent extended far beyond acting. Today, Susan Flannery is 87 years old and is retired from regular acting. And perhaps that's why Stephanie Forrester remains so memorable. For 25 years, she was the woman viewers love to argue with, cheer for, and sometimes hate. Darlene Conley was born on July 18, 1934, in Chicago, Illinois. When she joined The Bold and the Beautiful in 1988, she was 54 years old. She played Sally Spectra, the flamboyant owner of Spectra Creations, and one of the biggest rivals of the Forrester fashion empire. If you watched the show during the 1990s, you probably remember Sally immediately. With her red hair, bold personality, and unforgettable sense of humor. But Sally wasn't simply a villain. She was a businesswoman, fighting to keep her company alive. And that made her character surprisingly relatable. She could be ruthless when she had to be, but underneath all the drama was a woman who genuinely cared about her family and employees. And Darlene Conley made Sally so popular that what was originally intended to be a shorter-term character became a major part of the series. She eventually played Sally for nearly 18 years. Sadly, Darlene Conley's story has a very different ending. She was diagnosed with cancer in late 2006 and died on January 14, 2007, at the age of 72, in Los Angeles. She had played Sally until shortly before her death. Hunter Tylo was born Deborah Jo Hunter on July 3, 1962, in Fort Worth, Texas. When she first appeared as Dr. Taylor Hayes on The Bold and the Beautiful in 1990, she was 27 years old. Taylor was introduced as a compassionate, highly respected psychiatrist, and very quickly became the woman standing between Brooke Logan and Ridge Forrester. For longtime viewers, the Brooke-Ridge-Taylor triangle was one of the defining battles of The Bold and the Beautiful. Taylor was often portrayed as the more traditional, composed alternative to Brooke, but her life was hardly perfect. Her relationship with Ridge brought years of marriages, breakups, and emotional battles that kept viewers coming back. But Hunter Tylo's journey on the show was almost as dramatic as Taylor's. She left the series several times, returned, and even experienced one of daytime television's most famous twists when Taylor was killed off in 2002, only to return years later. Tylo eventually came back as a regular in 2005 and continued appearing through 2019. And there was another chapter in her career that longtime fans may remember. In the 1990s, Tylo was cast on Melrose Place, but she was dismissed after becoming pregnant. She subsequently sued over the decision, bringing considerable attention to pregnancy discrimination in Hollywood. She eventually stepped away from The Bold and the Beautiful for good, and Taylor was later played by Krista Allen and is now portrayed by Rebecca Budig. As of 2026, Hunter Tylo is 64 years old and is largely retired from regular acting. Don Diamont was born on December 31, 1962, in New York. When he joined The Bold and the Beautiful as Bill Spencer Jr. in 2009, he was 46 years old. And unlike the original Forrester characters we've covered, Bill arrived much later. But he quickly became one of the show's most powerful men. Bill, often called Dollar Bill, is the ruthless businessman and patriarch of the Spencer family. He's ambitious, confident, and willing to do almost anything to get what he wants. His relationships with Katie Logan, Brooke Logan, and his sons Wyatt, Liam, and Will have placed him at the center of some of the show's biggest family conflicts. But Don Diamont's road to Bill Spencer was actually pretty unexpected. Before The Bold and the Beautiful, He had already spent more than 2 decades playing Brad Carlton on The Young and the Restless. Then, in 2009, he was unexpectedly fired from that show. For an actor who had spent so much of his career in one place, it could have been the end of a major chapter. Instead, it opened another door. Bradley Bell brought Diamont to The Bold and the Beautiful, creating the role of Bill Spencer Jr. for him. His first episode as Bill aired on May 12, 2009. Diamont is married to actress Cindy Ambuel, and together they have a large family. He has also been involved in fundraising and advocacy for multiple sclerosis research, a cause that became personal to him through his niece. In 2026, Don Diamont is 63 years old, and he's still working as Bill Spencer. And recently, he's been reflecting on just how unexpected this chapter of his life was. After being fired from The Young and the Restless, he credits people including Heather Tom with helping him find his way to The Bold and the Beautiful. Heather Tom was born on November 4, 1975, in Hinsdale, Illinois. When she joined The Bold and the Beautiful as Katie Logan in 2007, she was 31 years old. Katie was Brooke Logan's younger sister, but over time she became much more than just a member of the Logan family. For longtime viewers, Katie's story was often about being caught between the people she loved and the people who kept hurting her. Her relationship with Bill Spencer became one of the show's major storylines. Bill was powerful, stubborn, and often ruthless, while Katie was more compassionate and willing to give people second chances. Their marriage went through betrayal, heartbreak, and reconciliation, making Katie one of the more emotionally grounded characters in the Forrester and Spencer world. But here's something longtime soap fans may remember. Heather Tom was already a major daytime television star before she became Katie Logan. She first became famous as Victoria Newman on The Young and the Restless, a role she played for more than a decade. She later spent several years on One Life to Live before moving to The Bold and the Beautiful. And her career wasn't just successful, it was historic. Heather Tom has won 6 Daytime Emmy Awards, and in 2012 she became the only female actor in television history to win an Emmy in all 3 performer categories: Younger, Supporting, and Lead Actress. But acting isn't the only thing she does now. Tom has also become an accomplished television director, directing episodes of The Bold and the Beautiful and other television productions. So she eventually moved from standing in front of the camera to helping decide what happens behind it. And she hasn't left Katie behind either. As of 2026, Heather Tom is 50 years old, and CBS still lists her as Katie Logan Spencer on The Bold and the Beautiful. Kimberlin Brown was born on June 29, 1961, in Hayward, California. In 2026, she is 65 years old. But if you've watched daytime television for decades, you probably know her by another name, Sheila Carter. Sheila wasn't just another soap opera troublemaker. She became one of the most feared women in daytime television. Originally introduced on The Young and the Restless in 1990, Sheila crossed over to The Bold and the Beautiful in 1992. From that point on, she became a nightmare for the Forresters, Logans, and almost anyone unlucky enough to get in her way. What made Sheila so memorable was that you never knew what she would do next. She could appear calm and reasonable one moment, and then completely turn the situation upside down. Over the years, she became involved in kidnappings, deception, revenge, and some of the show's most shocking storylines. And somehow, no matter how many times viewers thought Sheila was finally gone, she kept finding a way back. That's part of what made Kimberlin Brown's performance so effective. You weren't supposed to trust Sheila. You were supposed to wonder what she was going to do next. And Brown's career went far beyond the soap. Before becoming Sheila, she worked as a model and appeared in films including Who's That Girl?, 18 Again, and Eye of the Tiger. She also made guest appearances on shows including Diagnosis, Murder, and 6 Feet Under. Away from acting, Brown developed another career in interior design. She studied design, launched K. Brown Design, and worked on homes and interiors. She and her husband, Gary Pelzer, have also been involved in several businesses, including an avocado farm. And remarkably, Sheila's story still isn't over. As of 2026, Kimberlin Brown remains part of The Bold and the Beautiful. CBS lists Sheila Carter in the current season 39 cast. Joanna Johnson was born on July 31, 1961, in Phoenix, Arizona. When she first joined The Bold and the Beautiful in 1987, she was 25 years old. She played Caroline Spencer, the daughter of Bill Spencer Sr. and one of the show's original central characters. Caroline's story was one of the early emotional foundations of the series. She was caught between the powerful Forrester and Spencer families, and her relationship with Ridge Forrester became one of the show's important early romances. But Caroline's life took a heartbreaking turn. After being diagnosed with leukemia, she eventually died in Ridge's arms in 1990. The character's death became one of the show's most emotional early storylines. But here's where Joanna Johnson's real story becomes much more interesting. She didn't remain trapped in the soap world. Johnson returned to the show in 1992, but this time as Caroline Spencer's look-alike, Karen Spencer, Caroline's previously unknown twin sister. She continued playing Karen until 1994 and later returned for guest appearances. Then she made a major career change. Instead of continuing to focus on acting, Johnson moved behind the camera and became a writer, producer, and director. She created and executive produced the ABC Family series Hope and Faith, and later worked on other television projects. And there was another major change in her personal life. Johnson married Michelle Agnew in 2008, and the couple have 2 children. She has also spoken publicly about her sexuality and her decision to come out later in life. Today, Joanna Johnson is 65 years old and is much more focused on life behind the camera than on returning to daytime television. For viewers who remember Caroline, that may be surprising, because when you look back at the young actress who appeared on The Bold and the Beautiful in 1987, it's easy to think of her simply as another face from the show's early years. But Johnson eventually built an entirely different career. Jack Wagner was born on October 3, 1959, in Washington, Missouri. When he joined The Bold and the Beautiful in 2003, he was 43 years old. He played Nick Marone, the tough, confident former sea captain who quickly became one of the most important men in Brooke Logan's life. And Nick wasn't another version of Ridge. He was different, more rugged, direct, and independent. His romance with Brooke created another major complication in her already complicated relationship with Ridge, while his connection to the Marone family eventually revealed that he was Ridge's half-brother. For viewers who remember the early 2000s, Jack Wagner's arrival gave the show a completely different kind of leading man. But Wagner was already a major television star long before Nick Marone. He first became famous as Frisco Jones on General Hospital in the 1980s. And remarkably, he wasn't just acting, he also became a successful singer. His 1984-85 hit All I Need reached #2 on the Billboard Hot 100. He later played Dr. Pete Burns on Melrose Place, another role that made him a familiar face to television audiences. Then came Nick Marone. Wagner played Nick from 2003 until 2012, appearing in more than 1,300 episodes. And just when longtime fans thought they had seen the last of him, something unexpected happened. In 2025, Jack Wagner returned to The Bold and the Beautiful as Nick Marone after more than a decade away. His return brought him back together with Catherine Kelly Lang's Brooke, and this time Nick returned with a very different purpose, trying to convince Brooke to see the truth about her complicated relationship with Ridge. Today, Jack Wagner is 66 years old, and he's still working in television. He continues to star as Bill Avery on When Calls the Heart, while also pursuing music and his longtime passion for golf. And that's what makes Jack Wagner's story worth remembering. He went from a singing soap star in the 1980s to Melrose Place, to Nick Marone, and then, more than a decade after leaving The Bold and the Beautiful, back to where millions of viewers remembered him. Winsor Harmon was born on November 22, 1963, in Crowley, Louisiana. When he took over the role of Thorne Forrester in The Bold and the Beautiful in 1996, he was 33 years old. Thorne was Eric and Stephanie Forrester's son, and Ridge's younger brother. Someone who spent much of his life trying to find his own place inside one of television's most powerful families. For longtime viewers, Thorne was often the Forrester son living in Ridge's shadow. He was a businessman and fashion designer, but his story was filled with complicated romances, family rivalries, and attempts to prove himself within Forrester creations. His relationships with Caroline, Macy, Brooke, Darla, and Katie gave the character plenty of drama over the years. And Winsor Harmon wasn't the first actor to play Thorne. The character had actually been there since the show's very first episode in 1987, originally played by Clayton Norcross and later Jeff Trachta. Harmon took over in 1996 and stayed with the show for about 20 years, appearing in more than 400 episodes. But before becoming Thorne, Harmon had a completely different career. He had worked as a professional model, traveling throughout Europe and appearing in commercials. He was even known for his work as the Marlboro Man, and before acting, he had been a talented football player and attended Texas A&M University on a football scholarship. After leaving The Bold and the Beautiful in 2016, Harmon didn't completely disappear. He later returned as Thorne for the show's 35th anniversary episode in 2022, and again in 2023. Today, Windsor Harmon is 62 years old and continues to work in entertainment,